All right, folks, with the Xbox Series X and the PS5 both supporting 4K at 120 frames per second, it might seem like getting a 4K gaming monitor is the way to go. But today I'm going to be playing devil's advocate and explain why a 1440p gaming monitor is actually the better choice for console gamers. So let's break it down. Even though it's 2023 and we have these shiny next-gen consoles, the truth is there still aren't a lot of games that actually support 4K at 120 frames per second. In fact, out of the 33 games on the PS5 that support 120 frames per second, the majority of them only hit that mark when the resolution is at 1080p or 1440p. Yes, the list of 4K games is bigger, but you're often capped at 60 or even 30 frames per second on those games. And in my experience, I feel a game is a lot more enjoyable to play when I'm playing at a higher frame rate, regardless of the resolution. Let's also not forget about the necessary hardware. To even have a chance of seeing 4K at 120 frames per second on a console, you need a display with an HDMI 2.1 input. And let me tell you, HDMI 2.1 displays ain't cheap. So one could make the argument that you're paying a premium for a feature that isn't even fully utilized by most console games. But here is, in my opinion, the reality of where we are with the current consoles on the market. Considering that the hardware inside your console isn't going to magically upgrade itself, 1440p at 120 frames per second currently is and always will be the sweet spot for today's latest consoles until the next generation comes out, and that's not going to be for a few years. With the limited hardware on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, game developers have to make some tough decisions. If they want to hit 120 frames per second while outputting a true 4K resolution on the current console hardware, they'll have to likely sacrifice some graphical realism. And let's be honest, that's not going to fly on games like Forza or Call of Duty, where the lifelike graphics are really part of the experience. By opting for a 1440p monitor, you will get a fantastic balance of performance and visuals. You're still going to enjoy gorgeous graphics while maintaining that smooth 120 frames per second gameplay. Plus, 1440p monitors are so much more affordable than their 4K counterparts, so your wallet is going to thank you as well. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what about future-proofing my setup? Won't I be left behind if I don't have a 4K monitor with HDMI 2.1 support? Well, let's consider how technology evolves and how prices tend to drop over time. As we get closer to the next generation of consoles, it's highly likely that HDMI 2.1 displays will become much more affordable and widely available. So instead of paying premium prices for an HDMI 2.1 display today, you can hold off and invest in a really good 1440p monitor, and this will still provide you with an amazing gaming experience without breaking the bank. And when it comes time for the next gen consoles to come out, you can reevaluate your setup and then grab an HDMI 2.1 display if it makes sense at a much more reasonable price than you can today. That PC you see right behind me, just the box, none of the monitors, none of the other peripherals, that box right there was like $2,300. It's way more powerful than the PS5 or any of the Xboxes, and I still play 1440p on that, okay? And I love playing games, right? So you are not gonna be sad by not having 4K on your PS5 or Xbox Series X. And by the way, any products that you saw in this video will be linked to down below. Now, if you are looking for a list of good 1440p monitors for your console, lucky for you, I've got a video right here that breaks down the whole list. Enjoy.